Good Sunday morning and welcome to WGN-TV Political Report. I'm Paul Lisnick. Tuesday marks just 1 month until Election Day. This morning we're taking a closer look at a contest that will deeply impact Chicago and Cook County. For the first time in 8 years, voters will pick someone other than Kim Foxx to serve as the county's top prosecutor. Democrat Eileen O'Neill Burke is the frontrunner in the race to take over the office of Cook County State's Attorney. Despite narrowly winning the March primary, O'Neill Burke is already looking past next month's election and hoping for an easy victory in deep blue Illinois. But she's facing a challenge from former Democrat turned Republican candidate Bob Fioretti and Libertarian Andrew Charles Kopinski. WGN political reporter Tamon Bradley talked with O'Neill Burke earlier this week about her plans for the office.
Anita Alvarez was deeply unpopular. Kim Foxx is leaving as a polarizing figure. As a judge, it seems like no matter what, one side is going to be happy. That's a tough job. Are you prepared to take the heat?
You know, I'm used to taking the heat as a judge. On every single case, two people walk out of that courtroom, one thinks you're brilliant, one thinks you're an idiot, and I'm okay with that. I know exactly what the job is entail, and I'm going to follow the law and the facts. That's how I ruled as a judge. That's how we're going to approach the state's attorney's office.
Do you plan to debate the Republican candidate and the Libertarian candidate?
You know, we did have a panel discussion last spring, and the Republican candidate did not come. The Libertarian was there. I am really busy right now going around the entire county, meeting with community groups, church groups, every group that has a stake in the justice system. So if anybody wants to find out my positions on things, it is right out there for everybody to see.
One thing I wanted to ask you about, because as you know, in the primary, you did not win Chicago's black majority wards. And with blacks more likely to be defendants or victims in the criminal justice system, no doubt there's people of color wondering how your agenda is going to work for them. So talk a little bit about that.
You know, my agenda is going to be that we are going to follow the law and the facts, and we are going to make sure that we reach out to the community, and we're working with the community to make sure that their needs and their concerns are met. But we are going to be prosecuting cases. That's what our job is. Our job is to prosecute crime, and we will follow wherever the crime is.
There was a recent Chicago Tribune reporting about Chicago police surveillance cameras over the last 2 decades. The cameras have been in use. Police rarely credit it with helping them solve cases, even the most serious crimes. If police aren't gathering evidence and making arrests, the state's attorney can't prosecute, as you know. So what can police do better that would help you if you win? Well,
let's talk about video evidence, because every single crime right now has about 6 hours of videotape that needs to be processed, redacted to what the evidence is necessary, and then tendered to the defense. That is a overwhelming amount of video evidence. Everybody has Ring cameras, everybody has cameras now. So they can even try a case with no live testimony, just using video evidence. So we have to make sure our technology is up to date and ready to handle that step forward in the justice system. There is no better evidence than video evidence, and we have an overwhelming amount of it. So we're going to be looking at not only technology fixes and how we can make the most efficient use of video, but making sure that our attorneys are trained and ready to be presenting that evidence in the courtrooms.
During the primary, it was reported you said that you'll seek detention for all gun charge cases. Where you have discretion under no cash bail, will you seek detention for all gun charges?
So let's talk specifically about what I was talking about and what I mean. We will seek detention on each and every assault weapon. This city is flooded, the entire county is flooded with guns right now, and they're not any kind of guns. They are guns that have been equipped with a switch and an extended magazine. When you do that to a handgun, it makes it very difficult to control. It just sprays bullets. That's why we're seeing people that have nothing to do with the dispute are getting swept up in gunfire. We had 764 people shot this summer in Chicago. We are seeing a mass shooting almost every weekend. We're starting to become immune to those numbers. That on Monday morning, we see 25 people shot, 30 people shot, 40 people shot, and it's not shocking us anymore. I don't want to live in a city like that. I don't think anybody wants to live in a city like that. So in order to get control of the guns, we will be enforcing the assault weapons ban. The assault weapons ban covers not just AR-15s, not just assault weapons, but it also covers these guns with a switch and an extended magazine. If someone is found with one of these guns, we will be seeking detention and jail time. We're not talking about a handgun that somebody might have without an FOID card. Those are a lower class felony. The law treats them less seriously. But for any assault weapons, yes, we will be seeking detention and jail time.
Bob Ferretti has talked a little bit about charging parents where appropriate for young people who are committing crimes. What are your thoughts on that?
Let's talk a little bit about juveniles. So juveniles are governed by the Juvenile Court Act until the age of 18. There's only 2 crimes they can be transferred to the adult system on: murder or aggravated sexual assault. So the massive influx that we've seen in armed robberies and carjackings committed by juveniles are all governed by the Juvenile Court Act in juvenile court. It's very difficult to detain under the Juvenile Court Act. So the question becomes, well, what do? We have seen juveniles picking up 5 and 6 carjackings, multiple armed robberies, because they're still out on the street. So I've had 4 children, and I will tell you this, Timon, children do not do well with unstructured time. They just don't. They do what children do. They get in trouble. So now we need to give them structure. So what I want to do is I want to tap into existing programs at CPS. I want to tap into different community groups that have programs for them and give them some structured time. Make sure they're going to school. Make sure that they're being checked out. And when they get checked out at 3:30, the vast majority of juveniles get arrested between 3:30 and 10 o'clock at night. That's when we need to keep them busy. So we're going to tap into every single community partner that we can to make sure they're going to job training, learning enrichment, getting some mental health services. Because if a juvenile is engaging in violent crime, there's something going on. Let's treat the problem, because what we're doing right now is just wash, rinse, repeat, and waiting for them to get old enough for the adult system. I'm not willing to keep doing that.
All right, coming up next.